know, once they say they piece.
All right. Yes, Spike Lee.
Exit.
All righty. We are back for the second show that I would like to call Entanglement My Ass. I wanted to wear a shirt tonight that said Untangle These, but it would have been so tacky indeed.
We are back for the second.
My bad.
Why is it always is you? It cannot be Zion Lee.
It's not. It's not me.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do do my watch party. Who else has it? Chris, you guys already up and going?
I started a watch party, yes.
Okay, because I can't keep up with all these. This is a new show? All right. And I have to tag each one of y'all in it before we get to going?
Here you go.
That would be great.
I do a lot of damn work.
And we appreciate you.
It says entanglement. It doesn't say entanglement my ass.
Well, you can change it. You know you can.
I can't. I don't see the option to do that.
All right. Hey, we got room for one more female guest, so y'all feel free. All right, let me get right into it because that's what I choose to do a lot. Get right into it. But I want to start off the show with a solid question. This week, there was a lot of controversy. Black Twitter had a field day. The famous couple that is known for having a 25-year strong marriage came out with some discretions and confessions that they chose to share with the world. Jada Pinkett Smith, Virgo, alongside her husband of 25 years, Will Smith, recently confessed publicly about her affair, also known as an entanglement. Men call it effing, hunching, screwing, whatever you want to call it, with a 20-year-old man named August. She admitted to having an entanglement while legally married and while Will and Jada were separated. I say that Jada needs to come back to the red table. Why? Because Jada and Will just agreed and celebrate to the public about having a bad marriage, but every week she's on TV celebrated for being a relationship counselor and telling people to be accountable and telling people to how they should navigate their life. I would like to say some counselors and therapists will teach and preach to people how to fix their lives, but lack the courage to fix their own shambled lives. I think you will reach more people being transparent. That's the same stance I had with preachers in the church. I think if Pastor Tony told everybody that he was behind the hotel, smoking crack and sucking thing, you will see a lot of more people that can relate. I'm a black man, divorced professional. I never mention my ex, and I respectfully avoid those situations because I choose to talk about me and my own downfalls, my struggles, and my lessons that I've learned. Why? Because we have dudes and women that watch and take something from it. My pain can be your warning or your FYI. I think sharing fake images, ego, and pride is fake love. I really share my lesson with those I trust, and the rest I allow to gossip and wonder. So I don't believe that cheating is the ups and downs of marriage. I do believe that if you get to that point, you just go ahead and divorce. So I want to actually start off it with a question. With Epiphany, our guest, is what Will and Jada have marriage or something else?
I don't think that you can define someone else's definition of marriage. It's not necessarily my definition. However, I am not going to tell someone what their situation is or is not. That's not what I'm about. So if they feel as though they are married, then they are married. I can't say that their vows that they took are not valid.
Interesting. Hard. No, I'm going to go to Chris first because Chris made the most grunts.
Man, like, okay. What was the question again? Because I'm all flustered here.
Yeah, you seem to be frustrated. I asked a simple question because a lot of people, different people were casting blame. You had some people saying poor August. You had some women celebrating Jada. You had some people that was messing with Will. I'm asking a few questions during the segment. Is what we're going to have marriage, or is it something else?
Yes, I believe that it's 100% marriage. Like, I think that we're trying to be naive and we're trying to duck around it. Married women cheat. Married women cheat. Married men cheat. Married people cheat. I'm more surprised when I see married people that don't cheat, because I believe that cheating is a part of marriage, just like the ring. If I and I know what we want to say it is, but what I see is a totally different story. I really ducked this situation, this whole conversation. We was having a group chat about it, and I didn't even chime in because I think this is rooted in sucker shit, and I don't think we should ever glorify or magnify sucker shit. That man should have never ever told. He should have never ever told. You keep that shit to yourself. Not only that, the only thing that I dislike of how Will handle it is making Jada call it a relationship. That sucker, that he don't even get. He should even get the opportunity to. He should even get it. Yes, it is an entanglement. I make up a word for you. You ain't worth being told it was a relationship. You told that somebody let you into their marriage privately. That has nothing to do with the rest of us. If they let you into their marriage, that's their business. But the act as if it's new news that married women cheat, I can't believe. I can't go for it.
Go ahead, I'm going to. I know Mario gonna have. I'm gonna go to Zay before I go to Mario.
Let me get that question one more time. How you posed it?
Well, I posed it because I got like 4 different questions.
Right.
I asked, is what Will and Jada have marriage or something else? But then Epiphany kind of cut into that and killed it. But so we're going back to the whole relationship, the whole red table talk. I said Jada need to bring her ass back to the table, because you tell people about relationships and all of that and how they need to have a relationship like Will and myself. And then you've been on the Pork Chop Express for 4 years. So is what Will and Jada have marriage or something else?
Again, I'm gonna have to follow up behind Miss Epiphany. That's their definition of marriage. And if it works for them, kudos to them. You know, as Chris said, it's a lot of us who are partaking in that business. That was something that they had done privately. I don't condone the sucker shit either. That should have been nobody's business. And you know, we like to attribute that to red niggas, but you know, since we're doing all Black Lives Matter, I'm not gonna differentiate between the skin tones. But I'm quite sure Dark Brother wouldn't have did that. Hopefully, exclude Tyrese. However, what they have is theirs. If they like it, I love it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am with you though. She does need to come back to her own red table. She owes everybody an apology, because you cannot be preaching a dream, living a nightmare. And that's exactly what she was doing. So that to me was, yeah, you owe people an apology more than what you gave. But I think that was, I commend them for actually coming on and going that step to show what Chris was saying, that men and women cheat in marriages is real. You feel me? Not deal with it. And that's what I think she needs to bring to that red table if she wants to help people the way that, you know, her show started off in the beginning. That's all I got to say about that. I'm not married, so what do I know?
Yeah, I got about 3 more questions coming. Mario, you got something to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a marriage, because a marriage is a union between 2 people that's agreed upon, and that's what they got. So that's a marriage. So if they call it a marriage, then I'm gonna have to call it a marriage respectfully, because that's what they call it. So that's just how I view life on what somebody called a union. If they had to call it something else, I would have called it something else. But those 2 people got together, no matter how it's shaped, and called it a marriage. So that's what it is. The second thing is, I think people forget that in marriage, it is for better or for worse. And I know it shouldn't be that you just keep doing the worst, but in true love and in everlastingness, that's what marriage to me is, everlastingness. And right now, you can go off a track and then get back on it, and then you show unconditional love. And that unconditional love, that word right there, get thrown around so much because people love with conditions daily.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about everybody. It seems like everybody. Some people tell you, even their own children, they don't see it. Like, if you don't go to school, they stop talking to you. That's a condition. Like, I love unconditional love means through whatever. And that's a deep thing. And I had to think about that too before I even got married, because that unconditional love thing can put you in some spaces that it'll break you down. But if you really mean that, and if you value that in your marriage, if that's a staple in the foundation of your marriage, and that's what y'all subscribe to unconditionally, and y'all agreed on that, then it shouldn't be no infidelity. Like Chris said, it shouldn't be nothing that break y'all apart. It might be a part that y'all have to cry sometimes. You might have to go to some places that you never thought you'd go. But unconditionally mean, even if he get to their worst, we have to find a way. And I'm always bring it back to I subscribe to God. I'm gonna understand that as a man, I don't believe you can do that without putting God as the head of your marriage. That's just me. Go ahead.
Well, the interesting part of why, the only reason I said I seen different people take different parts. Women and men had different takes on it. I had one homeboy say he would have flipped the red table, but the reality is why I said she should come back to the red table is because, like Zay agreed with, you portray one thing. I understand you got a brand. I seen the house. That's not something you walking away from. Hell, a woman will leave you unless you got something good. But the reality is, they said they were separated. I get it. And we're just talking about since it was aired. Dude was 20-something. So she said there was a son friend, and then her healing was the kind that a lot of people ain't gonna deny. The young man kind of got mentally out of his league because he was hitting Jada for 4 years and actually thought that what they had was real, and thought that she was gonna leave Will, which ain't gonna happen. And to add to that, it's hard for Will because, hey, I'm Will Smith. In my ego, I'm Will Smith. I'm marrying Jada. But in my mind, I'm Will Smith. So when we separated, I'm assuming she might get her swerve on here and there. But for him to actually know details, to know like, man, you ain't just hitting a guy, you hitting somebody that's in my house, and you hitting a dude that hang with our son, and you hitting a dude that's only 20-something. That's a lot more to handle. So I'm assuming if you assumed or found out your mate was cheating, would you want to know the details? I'm gonna ask Zay first. Would you want to know who, or are you gonna keep it G?
I've never been a glutton for pain. I don't want to know. If it gets to the point where I find out, I'm gonna swallow that, and I'm gonna assume the worst and hope for the best. But that's just me. But then at that point, I have a responsibility. No, I have a decision to make, and that's what they did. At that point, I decide whether I walk or I stay. If I walk, it just is what it is. But if I decide to stay, that's that commitment. That's that, when we were talking about getting married, when we were walking down the aisle, those butterflies that I had in my stomach, when I said I do, that for better or for worse, that's what they just exhibited for you, for better or for worse. But they realized that the unconditional love side of it, like Mario has said, is that we're bigger than this and we'll see our way through it. Is it hard to take? You saw Will's face. It's hard. Who the hell wants to know that another man got their wife going, And you understand what I'm saying? And for men, that's hard. He took that like a man. I'll commend him for that. But he left himself wide open for that, I would say. But it's neither here nor there.
Epiphany, you're a woman, so it might be different.
It's the same, right? I definitely agree with him. I think that my issue is, August said that he talked to Will and Will was able to make a decision. So I think in the issue of cheating in itself, when your decision to stay or go is taken away is the issue. It's not necessarily the issue of the act of cheating. It's the decision to be able to open yourself up or open your relationship up to turmoil. I think Zay is the one that said he doesn't deal with problem P. I don't like to say that word, problematic P. And so I think it could be problematic P either way, problematic penis or problematic the other thing. And so do you want to open yourself up to problems, your relationship up to problems? This is now become a problem because this young man is in love with somebody that he cannot have. you know. So that's what it is. Will supposedly, you know, I put quotation marks, allowed this situation to go on, according to the young man. When we talk about the word entanglement, it doesn't seem like Will didn't know when he was sitting across from her at the table. I just think it was kind of like, well, I can't believe you let this situation get out, is kind of what I got from him. The decision had been made already. Will was like, you know what, we're already separated, and you're going to do what you're going to do, and I'm doing what I'm doing. And this has been going on for years in their relationship prior. So when you have, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and that's meshed together, it just creates problems. I don't know.
Zion, can I ask you one thing, or one thing was said, I just wanted to kind of add in this. When you were saying that August said that Will had gave his blessing or his okay or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know they had went online saying that wasn't true or whatever the case may be, but to me, it looked like that was true. It's two songs that come to mind when I think of that whole situation. The Answer to JT, I told him that when we had a private conversation before. JT has a verse that said, "What if your girl let another nigga hit? Would you accept it or would you cry like a bitch?" You know what I'm saying? You probably try to kill it and kill yourself. Say she wasn't real, but you weren't real yourself.
Real with yourself.
Which is our Uncle JT Money, which he taught us that, and we recited that back and forth and back till we understood it to its entirety. The other part of it, where I said that whether he verbally said it or not, his actions said it. Clarence Carter, who's messing around with your old lady while you out
making love?
So
well,
that's the thing, right?
spare me the tears. I really don't, feel one way or the other. I just commend them for the way how they handled it. They both see that they made a mistake. This is what they want to do, and the way that they ended it, I appreciate it. Even though that saying was toxic as hell about the bad this and bad that. Yeah, okay, but nonetheless, the commitment is there. So I applaud them for that.
Well, I want to move fast.
Sorry, go ahead.
Not to cut you off, I want to move fast because, and again, we were all raised on JT Money. Dad and uncles weren't there. At the end of the day, a woman gonna do what she want with it. So Will didn't have so much input, at the end of the day. Date doctor, do what you do.
Again, I'm gonna keep on going back to this. This is rooted in sucker shit. And we should never highlight or celebrate sucker ass shit. What I will say is this. I'm not gonna act hypocritical and say I'm against sleeping with wives because I have partaked in my life. But I do have a rule. If I know your husband, I'm not gonna sleep with your wife. That's my rule. Also, I think that there's certain men that are black national treasures. You don't screw Michelle Obama. You don't screw Coretta Scott King. You don't screw Steph Curry and LeBron's wife. And I hate to say it just off of celebrities, but there's certain people that has done so much for the culture that you don't screw their wives. You should have a certain respect for their wives. You should be able to say, "Hey, look, Jada, I want it now. I want it." But Will did Independence Day. Will did the Fresh Prince. Take your ass back in that house. If you feeling upset, I'm gonna tell you like they tell us. Sleep your ass on the couch. If you're just lonely, go out with them goddamn kids somewhere. We as men, as gentlemen, we should have a code. We don't sleep with certain dudes' wives. You don't even sleep with a dude wife that you know. Everybody else's wife. OG told me if it's on her body, it doesn't belong to you. Amen. It belongs to her. There is no contract. There is absolutely no contract. There is no license. There's no vows. There's no church. There's no preacher that you can get in front of and own another person's genitalia. Absolutely not.
Harder. I'm going to harder before we go to Kim because Kim just joined the cast. Hey, Kim.
My damn. Oh, man, I thought.
Harder, give me your insight.
Well, see, in this situation right here, I think it's so many unknowns. Because you could tell at that red table, it was really a PR stunt. So, you know, they was covering bases because it had got out of control. So that's just first about that. Let's not act like we haven't heard over the years all the rumors in the tabloids about Will and Jada going back and forth. But we're gonna just stick with this one right here and we're gonna talk about what we do know that's been out to us. So right now, they took August into their home because he was broke as a young man, mentally, physically broke. And they, as a family, took him in under their roof to kind of nurture him and be a family to him. So my only problem with this thing is not only problem, but the main problem with this is Jada, you and Will were going through something, but then y'all took in a hurt child because to Jada, she should be looking at him as a child since they're the same age as your children. I know I look at kids around my daughter's age as children. So you take him in, and from both of their mouths, I've heard, oh yeah, he was just going through it, and we was wrapping our arms around him and all this. So at some point, you let your lust and your vulnerability, selfishness, that's what that is, partake into a person when you knew he was weak. Like you knew he was weak. You knew he was at a wit's end, almost about to kill himself. We know what August was going through. And then you are Jada Pinkett. So you walk in his life and give him hope that you and Will split up. And I think that's the point of Will is saying that Will is saying, like, yeah, I know that's that he gave permission. I believe that's Will one of the things. Well, okay, we separated. It was known because August is in the family. They are separated. So now Jada is in on it. And then I believe she let herself fall because it felt good for Will. But men always get drugged through the mud for us acting on our feelings of just saying it felt good. Most men reaction to cheating is, oh, I just wanted to go out here because it felt good. She looked better. I still love you. And just that at this moment right here, you had me mad. You wasn't giving me no clue. That's a man's rhetoric. And we get drugged through the mud all the time about the same excuse she just used. And I seen no women hold her accountable.
I did.
Well, okay, too. I'm talking about when I say no women, I speak in majorities. Like online, I don't speak in, okay, you did, maybe 4 more, 5. I'm talking about majority of the people on the line was bashing August, saying he shouldn't have told. And the other men were saying men Will look like a bitch and Jada was a hoe. That's what I see. I didn't see women saying, Jada, you did that little boy wrong. I'm not saying little boy as he was a child. I'm saying right now, my mom still looks at me young. So right now, my daughter could be 22. Anybody in her age group to me looked at it as a child. So I'm not saying child is in child. I'm saying that's how you should be looking at it. That's all my point is.
Kim, you added to the conversation. Please give me your insight.
I'll give you my insight. Okay. Without knowing what anyone else has already said on the panel, can I have what the question was? Was there a certain question we're answering?
Well, we didn't went through 2. One is what Will and Jada have, a marriage or something else. And then the second question was, if you found out your mate was cheating, would you want to know the details? And then it went into people talking about August and his sucker, like, you don't run your mouth. That was Chris's code. We shouldn't be talking about August because you broke the code. You don't talk. He was a willing participant, and then when you didn't get your way, you messed up the secret society.
So I disagree with that. So I'm gonna start there. So the secret code, the secret code. I think when it comes to August, I have been defending August this entire time, and I feel this way because everybody assumes that he was asked to keep a secret. And I don't know that that was the case. I also feel like when you're dealing with matters of the heart, especially an emotion like love, that's a huge task to ask someone to keep love a secret. I mean, if we study history of like interracial relationships, there are so many people that risk their lives to actually love someone. And so to ask somebody to keep their love or passion a secret, I think that's way too much for any of us to house. And I actually believe that was what God intended when he created the emotion love. And so I think that man loved her. And to be asked to keep anything a secret is entirely too much, especially something like love. Anytime you find somebody that's in love, they'll tell you they want to tell everybody about it. And so I think it came to that. I think also in the evolution of August, you see that this man just wants to be an honest man. That's how I view him. He wants to live transparent, be authentic, and that's what and so it was like, you can keep a secret, that's your choice. But here's the truth of my life. This is what happened. And so I know, like in the Will and Jada interview, they were saying like, well, we don't know why this came up right now. Like we don't know why this came up. What kind of question is that? Like, he was asked a question and he answered it. And I think this is a common thing that you even see with anybody who's ever been a side chick, right? Wherein they start developing feelings. And so it's like, I don't want to keep how I feel about you a secret. And so it gets out. So why is this any different? When your feelings change, of course, you want to tell people how you feel about this person. So I think there's that. When it comes to the interview with Jada and Will, very disappointed. I'm personally disappointed in Jada and how she handled it. One, I think she should have led with an apology for August, like, hey, I'm sorry we're even in this place. Let's start there. Number two, I feel like she really tried to circumvent the conversation and go around in circles, which is unacceptable, because anytime she brings someone to the red table, she's holding them accountable. So I expected her to bring the same level of accountability that she's brought to everyone else to herself. And I didn't see a woman that was willing to do that. I also felt like her behavior was very predatory. And I'm not really going to refer to August as a child, but given his condition, just being weak in that moment, I think it's the responsibility of any person. If you recognize that someone is weak, then it is not my position to manipulate you or ever to take advantage of you, even if I can. And so, I mean, I think we've all been in a relationship, not necessarily a romantic relationship, but in relation with people where they were in a place of hurt, and we could have taken advantage of that, whether it be financially, whether it be manipulating them emotionally, whether it be manipulating them intellectually. You can always take advantage of somebody that's in a hurting place, but is that the right thing to do? Absolutely not. And so I feel like she needs to be accountable for that. And do I think they have a marriage? I would say that we would have to determine that based on how we define marriage. I think they have what they may deem as a marriage, and that may look different than what we've been familiar with traditionally in the world. I would even go off to say that I think what they have could actually work, but I think it requires a level of transparency, honesty, and accountability. And I don't know that Jada is really willing to move and operate in that space. I think the biggest thing I would say about Jada is that I feel like the red table talk, in hindsight now, having seen what happened with August, I feel like the red table talk is essentially what she is using the red table talk to avoid the healing work that she needs to do for herself. And essentially what she said she was trying to do for August, in that I just wanted to heal, I wanted to help someone. I think she's using that to just to avoid her own healing, and she's doing to the guest what she did to August. That's my opinion, because fuck this table. I don't know if we can use that language on here, but fuck this table, flip this table over, and go heal yourself while you out here trying to heal everybody else.
Okay, well, her and Erykah Badu tend to heal in that way, and those are some strong healing places.
Yeah. So you're gonna find yourself in a bad place talking about Erykah, boy.
Hey, listen, so
get Erykah out of it.
Before I go to Chris and Mario, this is the problem that we had with it. August, listen, when I was a young person, I had my chiseled physique. Most of the women I hit women I entangled with 30s and 40s, right? There's no way they love me, but they love the abilities we had when we was in our 20s. Second, first off, they have a brand. Everybody agree they didn't have an NDA. That's your first mistake. Second of all, though, back to Chris's point, sucker shit. You enjoyed all of this. You had 4 years of this. You had that perfect house husband position, and then you told it. You told it because it's your truth, but was it reckless because you involved other people's lives? It's reckless. So, and him telling his truth, he affected the Will's life, the kids' lives.
Yeah.
So that's one of my questions. And second, again, Will Smith, in my mind, I'm Will Smith. I'm Will Smith. So I got Jada, but I'm Will Smith. He's doing his thing. But when that thing come back on you, a lot of people can't handle it because that dude was looking real broke. So if he assumed that she had something, cool. But when he heard the details, and it's a dude that I've been housing, I'm taking trips. Oh man, you kind of outsmarted me on this one. Go ahead, Chris. I see your finger up.
I'm gonna keep on reiterating. This is sucker shit, and we do not celebrate or magnify sucker shit. I want to talk about that dude.
We got sponsors.
Isn't this the same guy that made the song called No Love? I'm gonna read some of these fucking lyrics.
We got sponsors, Chris.
So don't come looking for love. No love, no love, no love. That's 6 times. I'm gonna read some of the verses. Shout it. If you looking for somebody to trying to settle down, you probably won't be around. No, baby. You should hit me when you're tired of playing in the house. Should I go on? I will. And ain't nobody around. You need that when we both make love to the daylight. You got it, girl. You got it, girl. I can go on and on. This is the same guy. This is the same guy. No love, no love. So don't get weak now. You ain't you a gangster singer?
Well, Mario, before we lose all our sponsors with Chris, what's your take?
Well,
thanks for the research. But might have just Piggly Wiggly.
See, from what I've seen from all of them agreed on this, that he was broke. So I'm saying at the end of, I don't care who you are, who you was in your life. At one point, once you go through a mental breakdown, at some point, because that's the whole reason why he got in there. That's what I'm saying. We always got to understand. August just wasn't on the street, and they said, "Hey, come over here, let's have fun." He reached out. They reached out to him because they thought they could be a family to him. That's why you seen him on the pictures and all that kind of stuff. So no matter what, I have to agree with him. When you know somebody is broke, that's manipulation. Like right now, Jada knew who she was. She knew exactly how to get in there and do it. That's what I'm saying. You got to take accountability. Okay, I'm not saying August not wrong for telling, but you putting a lot of pressure on somebody who was already showing you that he was broke to just hold all this. He couldn't manage his feelings on his own. So then you add more stuff to his plate and then say, "Hey, you go over there and shut up. We done with you."
Right.
You know, it's crazy, Hardy. This is the one thing that's puzzling my mind as I'm listening to y'all and say this amidst, you know, everything that's been going on, Epstein and all this other stuff. I don't understand with Jada if he was that broken. Well, some women champion it, I guess. That's what I should say. Some women champion it, like, oh, she got some of that young thing, all this other stuff. Boy, if that was Will and he had to mess around and got some retarded thing, he'd be all kind of villains.
Right. So, that's why I said it's no accountability. And I see, yeah. And I'm not saying that's why I don't want to say, well, like Kim and Epiphany said they did. But I'm saying as a masses, I didn't see an outpouring of women say a mother like right now.
They had her back.
If I was 20 and a 50-year-old woman, my mama would be outrageous. My mama would be outraged and hurt. I have yet to see women be like, I see women still in the comments saying, well, he was grown.
Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah. That's crazy. If a 60-year-old woman comes to my 20-year-old son, he had his mentally capacity. He can't even, she will run circles around him. So then that's a regular minded. So what about a broke 20-year-old dude?
Come on. We know this as young men that at 20, you ain't grown. You don't know nothing. You start to probably peak for us men around 30, anywhere between 25 and 30, to where we start realizing that all those things that we talked about, those hood traumas, them ain't real. That's not real life. You got to reevaluate how you're thinking. So for the women that's saying that August was grown, yeah, all right. You know what I'm saying? That make you sleep better at night. But that man was not even drinking age, starting with that. Secondly, his mind wasn't even there. All he was a piece of meat to her. That was it. That was
radio.
it.
Well, listen, I know one thing. At 20-something years old, you can do it about 12 times a day. But
Right.
Who is the victim, or are there any? We're gonna go around the clock fast. Is there a victim in this scenario, or are there no victims? It's just an effed up situation. I'm gonna start with Epiphany.
There is a victim. I think it's August, or I know it's August, because if you read, I mean, like, I don't know. I read. So like, if you read stories like 50 Shades of Grey, it talks about how a woman takes advantage of him as a young man and grooms him to be this thing. Then you also have to look at her prior roles as an actress. She's played several roles where she preyed on men. Like, if you look at her role in The Inkwell, and I was just explaining this to one of my friends, she and Lorenz Tate was in love with her character, and you know, she was like the ungettable get girl. Mm-hmm. And you know, she finally gives Lorenz Tate an opportunity, but then that's not what she really wanted. She really wanted the older gentleman or whatever. And so if you look at that dichotomy, you can see that this is the person that she has been her whole life. So even though it is a role, it's her role as a woman. You know what I'm saying? When we as women, we make choices, and, you know, people, period. But women make choices when we get with someone who's younger, and you know, okay, you in your mind, okay, this could be like a month thing, but this cannot go on for years because of the mindset of the young man. And, you know, I will say that I have got with younger men, not younger women, I'm sorry, younger men, but it's not something but it's not something that I would typically do for a long period of time, only because I know he's a young man. He's still up and coming. I'm not trying to be that woman that breaks down someone to what I want him to be. He needs to grow and develop that on his own and be his own type of man. So yes, I do believe that August was broken and he was definitely a victim. You know, yeah, I do agree with Takara. She says that the kids, you know, the kids are victims, but when we look at the dichotomy of the three people involved, August, Jada, and Bill, August was a victim. He was on pills. You know, like you, if you know August's story and you actually take time to look past the red table talk, you'll know he was on pills. He was not thinking clearly. He was he was taken into the home because they knew that he was on a downward spiral of trying to kill himself. So when you have somebody at rock bottom and then you start having sex with them, then they develop a hero's complex, right? We all have it. I don't care who you've been with, where you've been at life. Somebody has been your hero and you have loved them for it. Maybe not in this way, but they have been your hero and you've loved them for it. And it's very hard to break that hero from that person that you create that complex with. So I'm done. I'm sorry.
Let me go to Zay. First off, I want to say that Will is the victim, and I think that Jada made August earn his keep. Go ahead, Zay.
Man. Oh man.
Come on, fast.
Yeah, I don't know where to start with them. He definitely was victimized. I'm just right back. I'm just appalled, I guess, because, you know, I didn't know all of August. I've seen his backstory with the depression, and it just makes me look at her a little shady. Because again, we come from an era where if you a dude and you picking off that lame duck, and that's what she did. I don't care what he looks like to us regular people. That man wasn't right in his head, and you picked off a lame duck to heal him. You was healing yourself. You using that as an excuse. You know better than the dude that rode around and hit up the bus stops looking for the young girls because they needed a ride. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go to Hardy, then I'm gonna go to Chris, and then I'm gonna go to Kim. I do believe that Yeah, she took advantage of radio.
Big
Go ahead,
time,
Hardy.
big time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Epiphany just because if you knew his backstory, I think that play a big part in this. If you understood what he was mentally going through, whether you believe it or not, if that's the facts, and he was going through this, and the sole purpose of him being there is for y'all to nurture him and take him in and show him family and love, and then he leaves. He above all things, he leaves being worse than he came into your house. Then that whole scenario right there says August is the victim because he was the victim before he came into your house of devilness.
Chris.
Yes.
I'm the victim. I'm the victim. I had to listen to this sucker. I'm the victim. The first time I got introduced to this story, he was in Candy Curls talking to Angela Lee. I am the victim here. Listen. At some point, I understand he's young. I understand what he's going through, but at some point, I believe that it was a situation that he's busting at Jaden's mama. I just think so. I think that from his songs, I think he was trying to hit on Jada. Jada fell victim. I mean, Jada fell weak. They started smashing, and that should have left it just like that. It should have just left it just like that. That should have been the end of it. It should have been no more talking. Look, if you can't be tender. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you can use tender.
You can't be tender on this. You gotta. The game don't love nobody. The game don't love nobody, and if you decide to play it, you can get burnt on that. And it happened to all. It happened to all of us. We didn't fell into some that we like, especially them older Krugers, like Epiphany, especially them older Krugers, especially them Krugers. We love them. We love them. They cook. They make your sandwiches after. They give you warm wash rags. So at the end of the day, but you got to understand that comes at a price. It's a premium price to play for that. You shouldn't have been trying to hit Will Smith's wife anyway. You shouldn't have been trying to hit Will Smith's wife. That is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I am the victim.
Will is the victim, but Kim, please give me some insight. Oh God!
I'm definitely gonna say we need to research who wrote the songs that Chris is referring to because we're assuming that August wrote them, but we'll look into that. Who's the victim? I think Will is a victim. I think he actually married a woman that's insatiable. I actually believe this is a very similar situation to Tupac. I think she's never going to be satisfied with one man. And I think her heart will always be in two places. So I think Will is a victim. I certainly think that August is a victim. And I think he's a victim because when you have someone that comes to the table with the full scope, the full picture, and all the information, he knew the state of her marriage. She knew what he was dealing with emotionally, mentally, physically. She had more information than August did, and she chose to move forward with that relationship. Now, while he chose to move forward with that relationship too, is he accountable? Does he have some accountability? Absolutely. I don't think we're excusing. I don't think we're saying that. But what we are saying is that he was victimized, he was manipulated, and she had more information. And the question on the table is, was it right? And the answer to that, in my opinion, is no. We are making August accountable, but we are not excusing Jada's behavior. The fact that she has age, maturity, and time and information on her side, she is not going to be excused from this.
Who's not excusing her? Who's not excusing her? She's excused. She's excused for me.
I understand that, and you need to be at a red table.
Probably.
Well, listen.
Right. I'm hurt. I'm damaged. Jada, if you're listening, I'm hurt. I'm damaged. I need healing.
She's gonna be entangled.
I just want to say something really quick because I really feel like I need to answer what Chris said earlier. You know, Chris, the only issue of what I've had that what you said about earlier about men, there's certain men that their marriages should be idolized. I don't think that it should be certain men's marriages that should be idolized. I think it's every Black man in America that is married. Their relationship should be treasured, because a lot of the time it's hard for a Black man to really get down on a knee and ask any woman, regardless of color, creed, whatever, if he wants to marry a tree, to be married. And so I think that should be very respected in all things. So, you know, I don't think that there's only 10 men in America, Black men in America, that their marriage should be treasured. It should be all Black men in America.
Well, I would have to respectively disagree with you. For one, I didn't say idolize, because I don't think you should idolize anyone's marriage. What I said was there's certain Black men that you should have a level of respect, because I'm talking from a male's perspective. We should have a level of respect for another man. If you don't know that man, then I believe what I said also in my statement, that there is no contract, there is no law, there is no certificate or any license that gives you ownership to another person's genitalia. They can do whatever they feel like with it, whether they're in a marriage or not. I believe as a man, we should have a code. If I know you, brother, I'm not going to sleep with your wife. There's certain men that I feel like I've grown up watching, that I feel a kinship with, even though I've never met. I don't want to do. I'm not going to touch their wives. But no, I don't idolize no one's wife. I don't hit wives of people that I know. But everything else is pretty much fair game.
You know,
well, I would say this. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
I may take you off course, so I don't know. Maybe you should go
No,
ahead.
I want to say before you go to your question, your comment is, one, I do think Will is the victim. Why? Because, listen, I don't know if Jada would be Jada without Will. This was Will Smith. This was Mr. Independence Day. So I don't know about who is who, but this was Will Smith. At one time, Will Smith, blockbuster. He married Jada, but he could have married a whole lot of people, and they would have been the Jada. Second of all, I think her antics left him in a irresponsible spot. No NDA. Listen, we separated, I get it, but you left us in a real spot because you was reckless. And then if y'all look at Will on that table, Will was kind of stunned because he probably thought, you might have hit somebody else, but you hit the Negro that's sick in the head and been in my house on vacation with him. So I do think Will is the victim in some sorts, but that's just my take on it. Go ahead, Kim.
I think one of the things that should be a call to action from this conversation for our community specifically is that I hear a lot of people saying that someone can't be a victim because someone else did this or someone else did that. And I don't think that's okay. That's not okay. And I think that doesn't make us as a community any better than someone who it does not care about Black lives. And I don't really mean to bring that up, but it's saying that, because you have this past or you have this history, you cannot be a victim, when in fact you can. So even if Will is doing something, that doesn't mean that he can't be a victim in this situation. It doesn't mean that even if August has all these, even if he knew all the information and he agreed to it, it doesn't mean that he can't be a victim. You can still be a victim even if you sign up for some stuff. A woman can go to a man's house and say, okay, we can have dinner here, and get raped. So are you telling me that she's not a victim because she agreed to come to the house? So I think we need to really be mindful of that, is that you can agree to some stuff and it get to a place where you then get victimized, and it's not okay. And I think we need to take ownership of how we're viewing what victims look like. You can be a victim and be a victimizer.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, again, I heard some people on the thing say, "Man, if this is marriage, I don't want it." I've seen so many comments. So I did the show because it was just a hot thing on Black Twitter. And again, I think Will is in a sucky position because from what I don't know Jada, but she's in love with Tupac. So I'm marrying a chick that I can really never get 100% of because she's married. She's in love with a dude that's dead, and she openly in my face tells me how much they had a love beyond anything you could ever understand. That's tough, you know. So,
He signed up for it.
yeah, well, he did, but I was
Kim
Will
said,
Smith.
Kim
I was
say
Will
you can't sign. You can sign up for it and still be the victim.
You can.
Well, I was Will Smith, and now you embarrass me like such. You let radio get some of my honey hole. I have a problem with that. One thing I did want to take away before we close, on the red table, Jada said something. You know, he made this vow: I was going to love you through everything. I don't know how it was posed, but then Jada was like, "Yeah, I'm hard to love." And I hear so many women say that, and they take comfort in it. It's like, "Oh, I'm hard to love. Oh, I have these issues. Oh," and the man that'll take on that challenge to say, "I'm gonna try to love you anyway." It seems like he don't get cooperation trying to love this person because they take comfort in being like, "I'm hard to love." So I'm gonna ask Kim before I go to Epiphany. Like, I just really don't understand that concept when somebody tells you they're hard to love and you expect the guy to keep jumping over hurdles for you. Is that an understandable question? Or is that a comment?
Take it to the Epiphany because I'm a little triggered right now.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So really what that means is basically, you know, it's an issue with oneself. You have a hard time loving yourself. It's not necessarily the fact that your mate is unable to love you. You can receive the love. However, you can't love yourself. And so until you can love yourself, then someone can shower you with whatever and it's still not going to be enough. And so the issue then becomes, how do you make yourself happy? So if you, I think this goes back to like a lot of the Red Table Talk history. So Will and Jada had a Red Table Talk about over a year ago where he discussed how they became happy within themselves first in order to make their marriage work. This was over a year ago. And you know, they said that they were both unhappy. So when she says, you know, I'm a hard person to love, she's not talking about Will, she's talking about herself. She doesn't love herself. And that does, I mean, and I speak for myself. I can't speak for all the women in the world. But if I say that I'm struggling with myself about certain things that I don't like, that I'm trying to focus on and rebuild or what have you, to make worthy enough so I can feel like I'm worthy of receiving your love.
Hardy.
But do you feel like
you can probably relate to what I'm trying to convey.
Do you feel? I got a question for her. So, if a woman's in that state right there, do you feel like it's right for her to be looking for a mate?
No.
You know, this is the thing. You're never, I don't think that anybody is necessarily whole these days, right? So when we talk, you talk about the Bible. So, you know, you should be complete and your mate should be complete and you should come together and be one little complete thing. I think that there's so much trauma that happens in the world that you cannot expect somebody to not come with something. And I'm sorry, are those some things you're willing to work with? Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the determining factor. I do think you should look for what you want. I don't think you should let your traumas or your past get in the way of doing that. Yes, you do have to be open and honest about it, which I don't necessarily know if she was open and honest about it, but
Right.
I do think that you can. Yes.
Okay.
I think that to answer what you said, to answer your question, Mario, I would say I originally started to say no. I don't think you should be looking for a relationship. But how I would say that is, I think you can look for a relationship. But I think one trait that a lot of people don't take into relationships is a level of self-awareness, and then the ability to communicate what they are aware of with themselves. So coming into a relationship saying I'm hard to love, I think that's acceptable, but help me to understand how you're hard to love. So maybe I need to love you in a different kind of way than what you're accustomed to. Maybe your love has looked like this and I need to give it to you like this. You know, we don't all receive love in the same way. And I think you need to be mindful of that with your partner. And so I definitely think as individuals, we have to be more self-aware and not have expectations of people knowing who we are or what we want or what we need. And I think in addition to that self-awareness, we need to be able to communicate that to our partners.
See, I think you got to have a level of patience too, because if you know you hard to love, then you can't require me to walk around like, you know what I'm saying, and then just always requiring me to just break down every wall that you put up every time. And if I can't make to break down the next wall, then I'm not a man. I'm incomplete. And I think a lot of dudes, and I'm not speaking for me, a lot of dudes, because I talk to a lot of dudes, they get frustrated because I think they go into the situation saying, I see what you want going through. And I know you had a bad rap, but I want to be better. But it's like you're not constantly giving me credit for even trying. Like, you're not giving me credit for trying. It's like as soon as I knock this wall down, you put up another wall and say, keep going, put up another wall, keep going. But just acknowledge. Sometimes acknowledgement that I am trying, I am going forward. I know I'm a long ways off, and that might be okay. We can work on this together. But acknowledge that I am going forward, and acknowledge that you do have these traumas. So this is you who we're trying to work on in this point of view that we're talking about. And I think a lot of dudes don't get that point, and they get to the point of where you get to the, why should I even go through with this? Why do I need to deal with this? And then you get to Chris' point, which he makes, and it's a valid point, whether people want to hear it or not. Once a black man gets to a certain level in life with a certain level of stability, you become the cream of the crop to a certain point. That's just true, because black women excel at a higher level faster. So now you got a whole bunch of women up here and only a couple of us that get here. So now you got all these women at us. Any man who wakes up in the morning and put on his pants, who got sense, understands that. So every day, humility has to kick in to say, you know what? I'm not going to abuse that. And I'm going to go out here and actually treat a woman right. But that get hard when every time you say, you know what? I'm not going to go get the other 20 women I can get. I'm going to stick to you and try to knock down your walls. But every time I knock down one, you build up one. You tell me how much of a man I am. Then you go to Chris' point of saying, shit, why I got to even deal with this? And it's not a marriage thing. I think his thing is just, I want you to respect me like I respect you. So if I'm building down your walls, take my shortcomings and roll with me. And I want to agree with you. That's just what I get when I talk to him sometimes.
I agree with you. I think we perpetuate that by the whole damsel in distress. You know, like that's what we tell our young girls. Like, you know, he's supposed to look for you. He's supposed to search for you. Like he's supposed to seek you out. And to some degree, I have some agreement with some of those beliefs. But this whole damsel in distress then encourages us to create scenarios to be saved or to be chased. And I don't know if that's the right messaging, obviously, to send to our girls, to our women. Right. And I think as women, we have to recognize when we are a part of the problem in creating the scenarios to be saved. And I think as a man, because there's a part of you that likes to chase, there's a part of you that likes to save. That exists, and we have to recognize, like, I'm engaging that in you so that I can get this, and we got to own that.
Right. Hunters, Kim.
Well, let me go to Man Law Chris before I go to Zay. Man Law Chris, then Zay, and then I'm gonna close out with one last question.
Well, I don't normally do this, but I agree with Kim. I understand that. I agree. I am kind of hard to love. I understand that. I have a lot of traumas that I've dealt with throughout my life, which makes it tough for me. I'm more comfortable isolated. I'm more comfortable with doing things myself as far as receiving love from especially when it comes from women and things like that. But what I would say is this: I don't require you to give yourself fully to me. knowing, because I know my limitations. So I don't go into a situation saying I know that I'm broken, but I require you to marry me and treat me amazing, even though I'm dealing with this situation. So I try to be extremely patient with people that I'm dealing with, simply because I know I have these issues. What I try my best to do is be truthfully and honest with women that I deal with, and also be open about what's going on, how I get down, and what's going on with me, and why I feel like this is how I am. So again, like I said, I don't normally agree with Kim, but I definitely, in this situation, I do. I think that we
You
have
do realize you agree with me as well, right?
Yes, Epiphany.
Oh,
I
okay.
do.
I just
I
wanted
understand.
to, throw that out there now.
I
This is a
understand.
unicorn. I just want y'all to know this is a unicorn. We don't see this often.
This don't
Y'all
happen.
must have struck a chord with my brother because he don't
Yeah, I'm a
move
little
off his
emotional.
pivot.
I'm a little emotional on this one, because I understand brokenness. If there's one thing I understand, is brokenness. I deal with that. That's the reason why a lot of the rhetoric that comes out of my mouth, that comes from a place. It doesn't. It's not just I'm just trying to, just spew this shit out. I really, things have happened that affects what I think.
We're gonna entangle
you.
Don't worry.
Like a porcupine trying to protect your soft inner shell, and so that's why you have like these quills on the outside. But we see past the quills. We see your little.
I wouldn't use the word soft. I wouldn't use the word soft.
Hey, he like that fruit, but I forgot what fruit y'all always talk about. Zay, come on.
My brother, I don't know. I'm bringing back to this table that this young lady has. This red table, flip that bitch. She don't need that table. Yeah, that table that she got is like a pedophile having an ice cream truck. She's using that for her own gain. She want that Winston scenario. So I'm just not a fan of that. The things that she did and that they did them things. Them people rich. They got way more money than all us. You know what I'm saying? That's their business. How they handle it from here on out is going to be totally them. We just giving our 2 cents and things like that. But in the realm of reality, it don't matter. Because like I said in the beginning, they like it. I love it. I just, you got to watch certain things that you see is being done. And women don't just jump on the bandwagon because that's Jada Pinkett or because that's some fantasy inside your head that you might want to have played out because August is cute or whatever the case may be. Wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like that. I don't know. To me, that the whole predatory thing just stood out. When you said that to me, Kim, I can't shake that from my mind because Jada got game. And she working that table. She ain't healing nobody, but she's not holding herself accountable, but she's actually healing herself, like Marvin Gaye said, sexually through them people. And that's what I took from it. I'm sorry, but that's what I took from it.
She ain't got a lot of booty. I just don't get it.
But listen, and face pretty. She working it.
I ain't got no booty. She was better when she was at Hillman. Hey, before we close out, from this whole conversation, from the predator to the victim to Jada and August, give me something that we close out, something that actually can be taken from the situation or this conversation as a positive takeaway for somebody that was listening tonight. And I'm going to start with Kim, and then going to Piff, and then I'm going around the table before we close out. Closing comment.
I guess, the takeaway tonight, I would say, is, accountability and self-awareness and moving in a space where you can communicate who you are, your shortcomings, and what value you have to add to things. And, living that truth. If you want to live in any truth, live in that truth.
Epiphany.
So I just think, just being open and honest and just living and being comfortable in your own skin is really the biggest thing. No matter if you got 2 pennies in the bank or you got 300 million, just be open and honest and be able to communicate. You'll be fine.
Mario.
Yeah, well, I think the best thing you can learn from this is to make sure that whatever union you have, that you be ready for every up and down that comes along with it. And if you invite somebody into your union in any kind of way, make sure, because you open Pandora's box, so make sure that you can get whatever comes with it, and you strong enough to handle it. And that's everybody, because there's a lot of people who got hurt, turmoil out of this kind of stuff right there, because somebody mentioned the kids, and you're right, we still haven't heard their point of view. So, you know what I'm saying? Just the point of like, if you do subscribe to marriage, however you want to subscribe to it, just make sure it work for y'all and y'all keep it tight. Because when it get like this, then it's just, I don't think nobody wanted to end like this.
Right.
Well, I will say the takeaway for Will, listen, the brother, listen, and I this is remind me of the best man.
Part of Will PR.
Yeah.
The best man scenario, you know, when he did all his discretions and then he found out his best friend hit his old girl and he still married her. I was like, damn, that's some kind of love I don't want. And then they say, Will say, hey, I'm gonna still love you. I really think next year they'll be like, hey, fuck it, we couldn't do it.
Wait a minute now. Will also said, I'm gonna get you back. He laughed. He sure said, I'm gonna get you back twice.
And she said, don't be petty. He said, bitch, I'm gonna get you back.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But she also said that you've already gotten me.
Yeah.
He repeated that several times as well. So I mean, the thing is, they have had a lot of whispers.
Yeah. That wasn't
that wasn't enough.
Listen, Will is in Vegas right now at the bunny ranch.
No, God.
On them bunnies. Chris, close us out, because I got to salute you for being vulnerable tonight. I don't know what's going on with you and Epiphany and Kim. Like, I don't know if you fatigued the agreements. I didn't expect it. I mean, it's good. I mean, I'm just speechless on it. Because I really used to angry Chris, the man-law Chris. And you showed a different side of you tonight, Chris.
Well, I do have on my rose-petaled cologne today, so maybe that's it. I don't know what's positive to take away from this situation. I really don't, because I feel very negative about this situation altogether. But I think we should protect each other, man. We should handle private affairs in private. I think that I don't have no respect for August, but I think that they deserve to talk to Buddy before I don't know, maybe he was just kicked out of the relationship, but he deserves somebody to talk to him, and he's tender. He's
right.
Whatever. So you got just holler at them and things like that. As far as their marriage, I think that we need to stop involving ourselves in celebrity marriage.
Amen, brother.
Like it shouldn't really matter. It shouldn't really matter to us as much. But if I'm gonna take away anything positive, man, let's just try to protect each other, man. Let's try not to publicly embarrass each other. We brothers and sisters at the end of the day. So let's just try to keep it positive on that vibe.
Well, Chris, before I go to Zay, I want to say this. I think this cast really could give a damn about any celebrity marriage. Our issue was with Jada. She healing. She done brought Snoop to the table, and she done brought all the people to the table. Oh, you got to live your truth. Oh, I
y'all
felt
do know that she had August on the table too, right?
Right. That's why I told you predatory. You know what she's doing.
Hey, keep it PG.
Oh, I bet he was on. She was on that table as well.
Yeah.
So she did all this.
Jesus,
live your truth.
Oh man.
Marriage and relationships, and you find out that she got all this going on. That's what people's problem was with that, because people always follow celebrities. They love you, but when they find out you got some shit behind the dumpster, that's where things change. Mr. Church, bring us home.
Guys, I'm gonna take the names away from this scenario. I'm gonna try to help out. Buddy was tender. That happens in relationships all around. But this turtle shell thing that's prevalently thrown out. I'm hard to love, and these created scenarios and stuff. I think that's something that we can take from this lesson that they have and try to not interject it in what you guys have going on. If you want this. I've seen one young lady say that that's marriage. She don't want it, throw it away. Well, if that's not the marriage that you desire, don't follow that path. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to hold yourself accountable or your mate accountable. Don't go into that turtle shell. Talk. ask questions, a million of them. I said this last week, and I'm gonna say it again. When you have a relationship, you guys constantly gotta have a meeting of the minds, where that meeting that you have at work every week that you hate, but it's to still see if you're still on board with what we have going on. Those things need to happen, and I think that's what I'm taking from hearing everything, everybody's side. That I think, like Chris said, we need to heal each other, right? But the only way we're gonna heal each other is understanding each other. A lot of women like to say communication. You know what I'm saying? But it communicated to this young lady what was going on with him. Her type of healing wasn't the type of healing that he needed. When you're dealing, like when ladies are dealing things like that with gentlemen, not just in this situation, just all around the board, try to take away that shell, try to make sure that you're listening, hold yourself accountable. Don't do these things, man. Tearing down our community. That's what I feel like. So, I mean, that's the one thing I took from this. Hopefully it helps somebody else looking at celebrities' life. Just put it to yours and try to do the best that you can. Put your best foot forward like we do with each other.
Well, two things, Chris. Two things, Mr. Church. Listen. One, I must listen. I think that August had the perfect house husband relationship, and he ruined it. He could have took his allowance money and lived good forever after. He chose not to. I don't know if Jada will ever take another entangler on, so he really messed it up for the next chap. But I do say you made a good point, and everybody said one good thing. Relationships and marriages, boy, they're going to have some ups and downs. And if you really love somebody, it's going to be some ugly times. And I damn sure couldn't deal with some ugly times in certain scenarios, but I got to take my hat off to them because that is the ugly scenario. And a lot of people have this where I'm just 1 foot out the door. I'm 1 foot in the relationship already, and then something happens, I'm out the door. That happens all too often. Like, it's going to be some ugly times. But in closing, I want to say I was pleasantly surprised with the ingenuity, if that's the word, between this cast here. So we're going to bridge off because the Monday Night Raw show is for men. It's for black brothers, professionals. It's Raw. It is the black version of The View. But this show...
Who's Whoopi? Never mind.
What?
I said, who's Whoopi?
Whoopi talking.
Never mind.
I might be Whoopi. That's fine. But because we had the ingenuity, we actually do this again because I think having the insight of the women was great because in our genes, they come with a different perspective that, I know it's left field, but it is showing the difference between male and women and how we think. But I think you can get some good dialogue out of it. So if Kim is open to coming back to the black table, we would love to have you. Epiphany, I know you're around. Yeah, she's gonna be on it. And you not no cougar. You was 35, okay? Chris, don't attack one of our allies, okay?
I don't know what's wrong with being a Kruger.
Is it a Kruger or a cougar?
One of them. That's why I said.
Pretty, bitch.
One of them.
Oh, Lord.
I don't give a damn if it's a barracuda. It don't matter.
Lord.
All right, listen. Y'all don't go anywhere. We're going offline. But I'd like to thank everyone that joined in tonight. I love the comments. The ratings were high. So I'm going to talk with this cast now and see what is going to be the next topic for the next episode since we are changing the world. Thank you for tuning in.
I'm a zoologist.